Okay everyone, back again with another video. As promised to you guys that follow me on Facebook, this is a product review. What this is our 30 amp circuit tester, brand Cen-Tech. It's Harbor Freight. Okay, you can get these actually from other companies. I'll put a link down in the description where you can find this at Harbor Freight and where you can find a similar item on Amazon. If you guys choose to buy through Amazon, it does help me out after you click on those links, even if you buy anything after you click on those links within 24 hours. So keep that in mind. But anyway, I bought this specifically. It's a good tool for many reasons. But I bought it specifically because I wanted to test out my LED bars that I have here in stock. The reason why I wanted to test them out, well, first let me get to this. This tests your current, your amperage, okay? The reason why I wanted to test those out is because when I initially hooked them up to do a test run, I hooked them up to a 20 amp fuse, which should have been enough, and it popped the fuse a couple of times. How you figure out your amperage draw mathematically, if you know what your volts is and you know what your wattage is, and typically with these light bars, they'll tell you what the wattage is and they'll tell you what the voltage is, but they don't tell you what the amperage draw is. How you figure that out is by taking your watts and dividing that by your volts, and that'll give you your amps. The problem with that is amp draw fluctuates. You got spikes and things like that that could cause issues. So in a situation where, you know, let's say your amperage draw is like 20 amp, or excuse me, is like 18 amps, and you're running a 20 amp fuse and a 20 amp circuit. That's probably not a good idea. You're running it at its maximum potential. Anything spikes and it's going to pop your fuse repeatedly, over and over and over again. You're going to heat up your system. It's just a bad deal. So I wanted to find out what the actual draw was on that. So that's why I bought this. But this tool will come in handy for pretty much anything. If you're installing stereos, any type of lighting, any aftermarket, anything on your vehicle. If you're just curious, if you've got a fuse that keeps popping in your car, this will give you a good idea of what's going on, so long as it doesn't draw more than 30 amps. If you're trying to test a 30 amp fuse and trying to figure out why it's popping a 30 amp fuse, don't use this tool. So if you're using something below that, let's say 20 amps, hopefully the draw is not drawing more than 30, but this is protected too, and I'll show you that in a second. So anyway, that's what this is for. For those out there that think you can just go grab a multimeter and use a multimeter, most multimeters on the market have a 10 amp limit when you test current. They're not designed for high amperage draws. They have a fuse inside that protects them. You'll pop the fuse. You'll think the multimeter is no good. You'll probably have to open it up and replace the fuse. So that's why it's important to go find something like this. And this thing is pretty dirt cheap in comparison to other current testers that test high amperage. This was like, I don't remember the exact price. I'm not even going to bother to tell you, but it was around the $20–$30 range or something like that. Check the link. You know, those prices go up and down all the time, so I don't want to tell you exact price, but it was in that ballpark. I had been looking on Amazon for another amperage current reader, tester, whatever, and we were looking at close to like $100 and something odd dollars for some cheaper ones, and goes up from there. And I eventually may buy something that big, something that capable down the road, but not right now, and this is more than enough for me. So anyway, let me show you a few things on this. First off, give you a close-up. Okay, show you this. This little caution on here says 10-second limit. I'll explain that further. Basically, if you look right here, I'm not sure if it's showing up. It says max 30 amp at 48 volts. Okay, this will not only do 12 volts, but it'll do all the way up to 48 volts. Okay, anyway, So you can test all the way up to 48 volts on here. Most of us are going to just use this on a 12 volt system, so that's not that big of an issue. But what that 10-second limit's on here for is because there's a component inside here on the circuit board, and I'm not sure exactly what it is. I was reading in the review, somebody brought it up. It heats up, and if it heats up enough, it's going to destroy this unit, okay? So when you're running this at its maximum potential, just like a fuse or any other circuit, if you're running it at its maximum potential, it's going to get hot, okay? The guy that did the review said that he was running this thing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at a low amperage setting of like, I think he was running it at like 4 amps, and he'd never had a problem with it failing. So you're going to know if you're running this too long, just hold on to it. It's going to get warm. So if it starts to get warm, turn it off. You know, there's a power switch right here. So right now it's not connected, so you got 0 amps. Turn it off. Good to go. So real easy to set up. Pull your standard, your older style blade fuse out of the fuse box. Plug it into the side of this. Again, make sure it's 30 amps or less. And then plug this into the fuse slot, the fuse box, excuse me. Start up your vehicle, okay? Do not do this without your vehicle started. Make sure your vehicle is running, okay? This is very important. And I'm going to show you why in just a quick second. So start up your vehicle, then check your amperage, okay? You might want to actually, depending on which device you're checking, you may want to leave this on at 0, where there's no amperage draw, and then turn the devices on so you can find out how much they're drawing, because again, there could be a spike or something like that that could affect it. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to turn on the truck. That's what you hear beeping in the background, by the way. And we're going to test out this 40-inch LED bar right here. It's my single row IlluminLED.com if you guys are interested in that. My Facebook page is up. I'll put that link down in the description. Really, really good product. Go check out the website. Anyway, I'm going to start up the truck. We're going to test the draw on there, and I'll show you guys how to use this thing and give you the rundown. So sit tight. Be back in a second. Okay, so I'm back. Sorry about the noise. Hopefully you guys can hear me pretty good. Basically what I have here is a very, very ugly wiring harness that I put a connector on, and I'm going to quick connect it to that light bar. And here's the inline fuse holder. I'm going to plug this into that. I'm running the 30 amp fuse, and we're going to find out what the amperage draw is. Now there's no switch on the light bar, so I'm going to plug it in, and then you'll see the amperage change, okay? I already know that this is running around 18 point something amps consistently. It does spike though, so I'm not going to show you too much of the spike thing, but I do want to show you how to work this. So take this, plug it in just like that. It's that simple, okay? I'm going to power this up. Still says 0. Reason why it says 0 is because I don't have this hooked up to the light bar right now. So I'm going to hook this up right now to the light bar. Now we have 18.7 amps, 18.6, 18.5, 0.4, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, 18. Let's see if it's getting warm. It's fine. So it's dropping. But you see how it started up pretty high and now it's dropping. That's typical of electronics. They'll start out high and then they'll drop, but then they could have spikes. I know that this was blowing a 20 amp fuse, so I know it has a spike that was at least pushing a 20 amp fuse to its limit. So that being said, I'm going to power this off, disconnect the light, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to show you something though. I'm going to turn my truck off. And we're going to do this again, okay, without the alternator running. We're at 0, it's not connected. Now we're connected. We're starting out at 14.3, 14.2, 14.1. You know why the amperage is lower? Because it's not getting enough amps out of here. Also because the voltage is different too, okay? When you test a battery without the alternator, the voltage is down to about 12 or 13. When you're running it with the alternator, the voltage will go up to maybe, I don't know, 14, 15. It really depends on your vehicle, but the voltage goes up, so it's going to change this. So don't plug this in thinking, oh, okay, well, this is all going to work out great. I only need a 15 amp fuse. You're going to blow that 15 amp fuse repeatedly, and you're not going to know why. That's why the voltage changes. So make sure you start your vehicle. Make sure you're running the vehicle just like you would if you were, driving it and operating it like normal. That's when you want to check it, because that's when you're getting the proper voltage to all of your component or all of your electronics inside your vehicle, and you're going to get a more accurate reading. As far as accuracy is concerned of this, I don't really have a way to test that other than I had some other LED lights that I had inside the house. I tested those. They were rated at 6 watts for the pair, which at 12 volts, and I had them hooked up to a 12 volt power supply, so it was an authentic 12 volts. So at 12 volts, that comes out to a half an amp. It was going back and forth between 0.6 and 0.5 amps, so I would say that it's pretty accurate. I don't know that it's dead on accurate, but it's close enough. So now one thing that I want to stress to you guys is when you're dealing with electronics and circuitry and stuff like that on your vehicles or anywhere, even in your house, don't run anything at its max, okay? Your fuse should be the weak link by far, okay? It shouldn't be a close call. It should be absolutely the weak link. Just to give you guys a heads up, because some of you guys probably haven't followed my channel that are watching this video, amperage is what causes you to blow fuses, okay? It's not shorts, it's not anything like that, it's amperage. When you have too many amps going through a line, your wires heat up. It heats your fuse up, it pops your fuse, or in a house will pop your breaker, okay? A fuse and a breaker are the same thing. The only thing difference between a fuse and a circuit breaker is the circuit breaker is resettable and a fuse is burnt and it's gone. You're going to have to replace it. Okay? So I want you guys to fully understand that. The gauge of wire that you're running when you're running electric stuff, electronics in your car, speaker wires, car stereos, amplifiers, stuff like that. Most all of us, that are dealing with vehicles, we're going to end out in a situation where we're trying to do that. It's extremely important that you're running the proper gauge of wire. Okay. For instance, this gauge wire right here, I think this is 12 gauge. I'm not sure what gauge this is. It's thin. This is not the proper gauge of wire that I should be using for this light bar. Okay. I know that because if you use a wire gauge chart, it'll tell you that this is not a high enough gauge, but you're also going to know because it gets hot. Okay, you can touch it and you can feel it and tell that the wire's warming up. If you feel that your wires are warming up, you're not running the proper gauge of wire. You're getting too high of an amperage flow for the gauge of wire that you have. Basically what it's doing is it's creating a bit of a bottleneck effect because your current's needing more surface area to flow through, and it's heating up. It's causing the best way to describe it would be like friction. So that could also affect your amperage too. That could affect your current because it's bottlenecking it. So anyway, just keep that in mind. I'm going to post another link in the description. Make sure you guys go check it out. It's for for illuminled.com. It's on that website, but it's not to sell you guys the LED bars. It's actually the wiring instructions on how to wire up those LED bars. But there's a lot of really helpful information in there when it comes to doing any kind of electrical work in your vehicles, period. So the wire gauge charts on there to help you understand what size of wire you need for what amperage, and and how many feet you're running of the wire. That actually affects it too. It also talks about relays and stuff like that in there. I'm going to do a whole nother video talking about the differences between fuses, relays, switches, wire gauges, and so on and so forth to help you guys out. So if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe to the channel because it's coming real soon. I just need to make sure that I've got that's going to be a more, I wouldn't say professional, but it's going to be a better put together video than this. I need to sit down. I need to make sure that I have a proper current setup so that I can actually show you guys some of this stuff, show you how it works and whatnot. It's going to take a lot more planning than to just turn on my camera and start going like this video. So anyways, stay tuned for that. Check out this product. I get nothing for this if you buy it from Harbor Freight. So I'm just giving you an honest review on it. It's actually well built. It feels, it's plastic, but it feels well built. There's a battery inside of here. I'll show you a still image later, right before I end this video, of the battery and the size of it, because obviously I need a screw to take it out of there. It is made in China, but it's still a good product, I'm telling you. And it is what it is. It works. That's all that matters. So check that out. If you choose to buy it off of Amazon, even if you buy that other model that I'm going to put the link on there for, again, it helps me out. But buying this from Harbor Freight doesn't help me out at all. It's just a review that I thought many of you would find helpful. So anyway, I'm rambling. Talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Again, subscribe, comment, like. Go like my Facebook page. Check out alvarezmetalworks.com. Follow me on Twitter if you use Twitter. Go like illuminled. If you really want to help me out right now, go like that Facebook page and go share it with your friends. That would help me out a ton, believe me. I would be very, very grateful for that. So anyways, sit tight. Here's those pictures that I promised you, and talk to you guys later.